Hey, what's going on? Miguel, the host of Life Full Circle Radio. It is the day after the holiday. Me and the family have been traveling, and so I had to hop on in here because we didn't get a chance to do the show over the weekend on Monday because of the holidays. So, what's up? Your man is getting himself together, and we got a lot to talk about today. Over there in France, you had one situation that has spawned a whole protest against gun violence, and it's something that I think we need to take a few cues from. Obviously, there's a lot going on with Trump, of course. There's a lot going on over the holidays. Essence Festival is interesting. There's a lot of conversation around what is classy, what is ratchet. That'll be a part of our conversation today. And then, of course, we're going to get into whatever it is Kia has on this list that I ain't had a chance really to dig into yet. So there's that. I'm skipping all of the intro, all of that. We getting into the conversation because it is what it is. What's up?
What's up? Happy holiday. I don't know if there's a lot of black people to say happy 4th of July or happy day off on a Tuesday. Happy day off on a Tuesday.
You know what's so funny? I reached out to one of my clients while I was out of town, and I said, you know what? One of my social media clients said we forgot to put up a Juneteenth, happy Juneteenth deal. So I thought twice about putting up the Happy Fourth joint because folks are gonna feel a certain way. And in typical fashion, my client was like, "Bet."
Yeah, I didn't even put an out of office on. You know what it is. I'm not gonna be here. I mean, I celebrate it, but I'm taking this day off. And my husband was so annoyed because he was like, I don't understand. So I gotta be off all weekend, go to work on Monday, and then be off on Tuesday. Nope, I'm taking off on Monday too. So we've just
it's one of those weird days. It fell in the middle of the week on us, and so it was just kind of interesting how that all worked out. But it was cool.
Shout out to Jill Scott, though. Did you hear about her national anthem rendition that went viral?
Oh, you talking about Jill Scott?
Yes.
Yeah, that's Dilly from Philly. I'm not surprised one bit. And evidently,
you're shrugging your shoulders like it's not a big deal. It's kind of a big deal. It's a cool big deal, but it's definitely an interesting.
It's a big deal, but it's just I've been following Jill for 20 plus years. I'm not surprised. She always has a way of doing some songs that really really touch your heart. So people may not know, she had her own rendition of the national anthem that she created, and I believe she said this actually was written when she was very young, and so she has turned it into part of her performance at when she performs, and she was at Essence, and it was bombed by Z. So, but you want to dig into some more?
When the song plays, I will be singing at the end, and the home of the slave.
Just make sure you are working for yourself, because folks get all beside themselves about that song. I'm at a point now. I don't know if you're there or not yet, but when I see American flags on cars, I'm at a point now where I'm kind of like,
I'm good. That doesn't bother me. It's when I see the Confederate flag still, because those of y'all who are fans of Life Full Circle Radio, me and Miguel were Floridians for a while. He lived in Florida and Jacksonville for a while. I'm born and raised Florida girl. So the American flag doesn't bother me. But when I start seeing the Confederate flag or any weird rendition of the flag that's not like Old Glory, and I'm like, you're suspect. You say the N-word on a regular basis.
Exactly. I'm really, I don't know, man. I'm just at that point now that I'm curious now when I see people, because people have weaponized the American flag. People say, Miguel, what are you doing? It's this overlay that's bugging me right now.
You know what also irks me? Red hats. Every time I see a red hat with like some lettering on it, I'm like, what does your lettering say? It better not say what I think it says.
Right.
Oh, okay. It says Old Navy. We're good then.
Right. No, we are there now. We are there now. And it's unfortunate, but it's just where we are. And I think with Joy Reid, I was watching before I came on the show. I was watching Joy Reid, and she was showing. I guess the GOP decided they wanted to do their little thing about the 4th of July, and they use a Liberian flag instead of the American flag. Huh?
Nothing. I was muted. I was telling them to turn the TV down. My bad. I'm still here. I'm focused.
The GOP did their July 4th deal, and they used the Liberian flag instead of the American flag. I said, you know,
Because they're
what,
dodos.
but here's the thing. I want to believe when things happen like that are just so ridiculous. God, are they trolling us all? Can they really be that idiotic?
No, because look at people who are leading their party. Lauren Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene. And these aren't exactly Rhodes scholars we have in the GOP nowadays.
Oh
I
my
mean, it's a
God.
little.
It's
It seems like they
ridiculous.
just Google stuff like this sounds right. Let's copy and paste. Yeah, now we're done. Like, it's ridiculous.
You know,
But
it's
let's.
some kids. So all right, let's jump into our stories. As I am on the fly, and you go ahead and pull them up, talk about them. I'll pull them up as we talk about it. I definitely want to talk about this. Yusef Salam, one of the exonerated five,
Yes.
has been voted to New York City Council, which is just I had my exonerated five shirt on the other day, and I always like to engage people when
Well,
they
well, wait. Let's make sure we're saying the right thing. Has he been voted in, or is he leading the primary? Because my story says he's leading the primary.
he's leading the primary, and so I stand corrected. I stand corrected. He's leading the primary. One of Central 5, Yusef Salam, running for New York City Council. Salam is one of three candidates in a competitive June 27th Democratic Party, almost certain to decide who will represent the Harlem district. So the irony in this is that, go ahead.
Oh, what I was gonna say is, I mean, I'm happy he's winning. It's not a surprise though, because he is up against two. For lack of better words, he's up against two of the disciples. That's how old these men are, and really shouldn't be running for anything except for president of a senior citizen home. One is 65 and the other one is 73. How old is Yusef? 41, 47? Is he your age?
He's about my age, so he's in his late 40s at the youngest. So he's right there.
Yeah, so these two old geezers need to get out the way, let somebody younger and someone who honestly can see all walks of life as a New Yorker. He was a poor child.
Yes.
Not poor, but he was lower middle class child. He was a inmate, a prisoner, a felon for a long period of time, and now he's a wealthy, successful man. If that's not somebody who understands all,
he was a felon, but he was wrongly accused felon. Yes.
Wrongly accused, but he still had to walk the life of a felon.
He did, and Yusef actually was based. He was living down here in the Atlanta area. So when I heard he was running in New York, I said, "Oh wow, okay. Well, I guess he won't be in ATL full time anymore." Because he used to come to, I've been to a couple of events where he's spoken and missed a couple of other ones that I wanted to attend. But it's really a testament to people really jumping in and saying, "I'm tired of hearing people talking about stuff. It's time for me to get involved." And so Dr. Salam said, "I'm getting involved." This system, had me locked up when I wasn't supposed to be locked up. This system, the only way that I'm going to fix this system is to get involved in this system. And so kudos to him. I don't know anything about the candidates that are running. That's a name.
65 and 73.
It doesn't mean they're not good candidates. I have no idea. And I don't live in Harlem. But our president is what, 70, whatever. Trump is 70, whatever.
I never said that was okay, that our president should be almost an octogenarian.
Are you an ageist?
Yes. What? Absolutely. And I ain't got no shame. Nakia Shakur is an ageist. Mark it down. Write it down. Mark the day. Remind me about this later. I'm an ageist.
Oh, Jesus.
Stop it. It's like I don't want my kid's bus driver to be in their 80s. I don't.
There's a difference between somebody having to drive a bunch of kids around and be president. I did say that.
Wait a minute. What's more dangerous? Driving your kids around or driving the country? What?
Well, at least if you're driving the kids around, it's only him driving. If you're driving the country, he's really a puppet. So moving on. All right. So next on our list, we wanted to talk. We kind of dropped it earlier. Let's talk about this story over in France because I've heard most of it, but you probably a little bit more versed in it than I am right now.
Honey, Paris is burning, and I am not talking about the famous documentary. France is burning. On Tuesday, AP News reported that the authorities killed a 17-year-old identified as Nahil M, who was of Algerian descent. The
Mm-hmm.
incident that sparked everything, which occurred in the Parisian suburb of Natiri, France, unfolded after Nahil tried to drive away from it during a traffic stop.
Mm-hmm.
Eyewitness video later emerged and sparked further outrage over the teen's death, as many believe the authorities needlessly escalated the traffic stop situation.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, what happened is this Algerian teenager was stopped,
Mm-hmm.
and there have been mixed reports about if the cops were overly aggressive. All the reports that the cops are overly aggressive, but the words that were exchanged have not really been proven. There's no video. People say there's a video. They're just waiting for it to come out. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if Parisian cops have to wear body cameras. I don't think it's
Mm-hmm.
that serious over there where they have to. But anyway, the boy, out of fear, didn't have a weapon on him, but he drove away and they shot him in the back and he was killed. And that sparked probably Parisians apparently know how to riot. America, we need to get on our game because they have burnt down a lot of France. 875 people have been arrested. 3,880 fires were started.
Wow.
And these people have been robbing stores and it's just been nothing but violence. And I'm sorry, but I kind of agree with President Macron, who came out, who's the president of France, for those of you guys who don't know who that is. He said
Mm-hmm.
there's an unacceptable instrumentalization of the death of a teenager, which we all deplore. This should be a moment of reflection and respect. In the face of this, I firmly condemn those who use the situation and this moment to try to create disorder and target our. I firmly condemn, we all do, this pure and unjustifiable violence that has no legitimacy. And I'm sorry, I agree with him. Why are you all burning down your entire neighborhoods? This is not,
Mm-hmm.
okay. And just see if you can go with me
Go
on
ahead,
this.
finish your thought.
It's
Go
not
ahead.
like in America where we know that police have an institution of harming Black and brown people. In a lot of cases, we've seen this over and over again. Even before the Black Lives Matter movement, we have seen this over and over again. In Paris, and I'm asking, do we know that there is an institution of being mean to Black and brown people and the police are corrupt? I have never
Yeah.
heard one story coming out of Paris of them just being like, we're just shooting anybody who's an immigrant or we're just killing brown people. It's just a
Well,
lot of anger.
here's what we know. A lot of people who leave African nations, they end up in Europe, right? So they end up in France, they
Yes,
end up in Paris, end up in Germany,
end
whatever,
up in London.
England, in London, and they are not. It's not as if the people in Europe do not have access to the same information of all the rioting, because we know when Black Lives Matter movement, it was a worldwide movement. It was not just a movement in America, right?
Yes, it was a
And
worldwide movement.
so they know about George Floyd. They know about all the incidents which have happened all over the world. So the protesting, if you are, let's just hypothetically say you are someone, an activist, a young activist in France, who you don't have incidents like in America where every week you're finding these stories of Americans being brutalized by police. There's a new situation. I don't know if you saw it in Lancaster, California, where there was an elderly Black woman
Yes.
filming
They
her
were
husband
shot the
being arrested, and once they put her husband in handcuffs, they ran over there, slapped the phone out of her hand, and slammed this woman who's probably in her 60s to the ground just for
ground.
filming. In France, if they don't have those type of incidents to respond to on a regular basis, when something happens, people will protest. And the
Yeah.
violence of the protest, I'm not condoning it, but the point is that people are sick and tired of people of these authority figures abusing their power and doing what they're doing to people. And the difference between over there and here is that I don't know. I guess we're just at a point now that it's just like it happens so readily in America that we're almost tired of protesting, which is we shouldn't be. You got so many people who are armed now that I think a lot of us are thinking twice about responding and getting engaged into these situations because of
Yeah.
you never know who's got a pistol.
You never know who's armed at this point. I live in Florida where a lot of gun laws were repealed. Everybody, you want a gun, you get a gun. You get a
Right,
gun, you get a gun. That's
right,
how it is in Florida. But I
right.
guess I just get concerned where we're burning down neighborhoods. There are other people who live in these neighborhoods who ain't
Absolutely.
have nothing to do with the police department, who now you are burning down our schools, you're burning out our cars, you're breaking into our apartments, you're breaking into businesses that had nothing to do with this, and you're
Correct.
looting and burning things down. Like, it's almost, maybe they don't have an organizer, maybe they don't know what they're doing, but I just think it's just so sad watching
Maybe they're
them
just mad.
burn down their own. Huh?
Maybe they're just so mad. Maybe they're just so upset that they don't
But there's
have
not a lot
control.
of brown communities. There's not a lot of brown communities in France, and they all tend to live together, like most,
Well, just like
Guyanese
any
people here
other,
in America.
and I don't know how many,
But they're burning down their own communities. You're harming your own
but that
communities
happened with
that
the LA
really want
riots as well. It happened with the LA riots. It happened, it's about proximity. If you look at the analogy and say, if I'm mad and someone really pissed me off in a moment, the first thing a person is going to do is punch a wall. That wall did nothing to them. What you punching the wall for? Because it's the proximity of that wall to me and my anger, right? So these people who may not have access to other parts and being able to make it, so the first place they're going is that they're mad at their environment. But what I think we can learn from this is that the people jumped into the streets immediately, and the country is going to have to respond. We're at a place now in America where, what is the response? We've seen this so much now, and you got to, what is it, the thoughts and prayers, and then all of a sudden there is no gun legislation that's changed. You got this vast country that, okay, because it happened in L.A. or the most famous one, it's in Chicago. The Democratic leadership in Chicago needs to fix blah 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 blah, and then we come back to where we
and
are
that's
now.
another thing that
Yeah.
gets me. They
Hmm.
say it's gun violence
Hmm.
in these cities, but there was a mass shooting at an elementary school in Uvalde, Texas, and nobody even knew where Uvalde was. Anybody heard of
Hmm.
Uvalde, Texas?
Hmm.
Then in Allen, Texas, again, wasn't it Allen, Texas, where a guy
Hmm.
went to the mall and shot a bunch of
Yeah, I think it
people
was
and then
Allen,
was gunned
Texas.
down by the police.
Yeah.
So we're not talking about LA, Chicago, Atlanta. We're talking about these little towns.
Well, but think about it.
Uh,
Anytime it happens in those little towns, with and even in the little town in Allen, I think the guy was Hispanic. But even when you have in these little towns, then it's mental health. Oh, we have to do something about mental health. When it happens in Chicago, it's the Democrats not controlling those thugs in the city, right?
it's
It's
a hot mess.
hypocrisy.
So
It's complete
yeah,
hypocrisy. That
it is.
as black and brown people, we're tired of being looked at like we're animals, like we don't deserve the respect that we deserve. And so this situation, I don't know what the result it will be. We're at a point now where people are so blinded and they're in their own silos, and it's a dance. It's like, oh my God, let it not happen in my community today. So, all right, let's move on. This conversation we can stay on forever. So as we mentioned,
You
there was a
want to go to
situation. Go ahead. What?
you want to go to affirmative action? You want to wait? Let me know what you want to do because I'm ready to
Let's go to
light
Supreme Court.
these
Supreme Court this
people right.
past week, Clarence Thomas and the rest of the the conservative right, 6-3, voted down affirmative action. Voted down. Go ahead. Go ahead. Set it up.
I'm trying to find. Okay, in effectively ending affirmative action, the court's conservative majority sided with the students for fair admissions, whose lawsuit alleged that admission policies at Harvard discriminated against Asian American applicants and give unlawful and unfair preference to white, Hispanic, and Black applicants. Although Jackson recused herself from the Harvard case, she weighed in on a related case brought by the students of fair admissions against the University of North Carolina, which argued that the university discriminated against white and Asian Americans. Side note, the justice I'm talking about is Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, who
Yeah.
went to Harvard. She had to recuse herself from that because she, went to Harvard. So let's just dive into this, and I'm just going to be very blatant about my opinion. I've already told Miguel about this.
Mm-hmm.
To the Asian community, I don't want to hear any more BS about you guys not being the model minority. This is a bag of bullshit, and I'm cussing for a reason because you have now paved a way for white students who are legacies, who are wealthy, who knew a person who knew a person who knew a person to now get into the school with no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm annoyed the fact that the Asian students who brought this forward think this will make admissions fair. No, it's not going to make admissions fair. It's not going to make admissions fair. And what kills me even more is that y'all act like me, Nakia Shakur, could be like, I want to go to Harvard. I only had a 3.0 in high school and I did decent in college. So here's my application. You're just going to let me in because I'm Black. That is
Right.
not how Ivy League schools work.
No,
It's
not at all.
not.
Not at all. You know, Joy Ann Reid had a monologue about this, and she went to Harvard, and she talked about how she got into Harvard. She was let into Harvard because she earned it, her grades, and she had excel. You know, great SAT scores, great testing scores, everything that she needed. But the opportunity was not there for her without the affirmative action. That's the part that's the lie that is told, that affirmative action just letting in just average people into a Harvard or a Princeton or to any of these. Now, mind you, funny thing, you know what type of institution were excluded from this affirmative action deal? Military academies.
Oh,
So,
they still do it.
but here, think about it. In the military academy, you obviously are one of the best of the best, but
You're
you
the best
also
of
are
the best.
right. But you're also sacrificing, and you're willing to sacrifice your life for this country. So they're like, oh no. We'll let all the black and browns and all that, the great ones, come serve because they're willing to sacrifice their lives for our country. But all you other schools, your Stanfords and your Dukes and all of that, no, you guys can use this as a crutch to let kids in. And when you look at Clarence Thomas and how he excelled through the ranks his entire life, you know, it's akin to you climb up a ladder and you pull up the ladder behind you and you flip everybody else the bird.
He's not even pulling up the ladder. He's literally just kicking anybody that comes close to him on the ladder. He's just kicking them down. It's not. To me, it's meaner than that with him.
Yeah.
He just is such a disappointment as a human being.
Right.
And
Right.
again, the Asian people, it's not like black people were taking up like 20-15% at these Ivy League
No.
schools.
No.
It was less than 10%. And in a lot of
Yeah.
the Ivy League schools, the Asian community was 20%. Like, I don't
Yeah.
understand. I'm sorry if I feel like the Asian students who are on this committee, you just suck. You just weren't good enough to get into the school of your choice. And you figured, oh, I'm really smart. This black kid got in. It must just be because, they're black and affirmative action. That's why I didn't get it. No, you suck. I've seen videos on YouTube of the stacks and stacks of admissions that go into Harvard. How these people spent over a month and a half locked into a room reading essays, looking at test scores, looking at SATs. Not every black person who's smart is getting into Harvard or getting into Yale
Right.
or getting into
Right.
Brown, getting
Right.
into Duke, Wharton.
Right.
There are it's annoying that they've done this, and they are so misguided about what's going to happen. And I
Who's
don't
misguided?
understand
Who's
the
misguided?
Asian people.
Okay.
You are misguided. I'm sorry, you're misguided.
Okay.
We're now going to have to compete with wealth. And a lot of the Asian students said, well, our parents work really, really hard as immigrants to get us here, and we had to work hard, and it's not being appreciated. Okay, cool. So your broke ass parents aren't going to be able to pay what the white kids' parents can to get them into the school. Congratulations. Now you're smart and going to Florida State. Congratulations.
Yeah, and because I think they're focusing on the wrong adversary. Black folks are not your adversary.
No. Ugh.
We're not the ones keeping you out. We're all trying to get in. We're all trying to be able to maximize these opportunities so that we can take care of our families and excel. And what's happening now is that, and we've said this on this show, and I've said this in many conversations. White guilt is done. It's done.
Oh, yeah.
After the George Floyd, after after 10 years of everybody with the Trayvon Martins and all the Black Lives Matter and all that stuff, they, the ones who are wretched, the ones who feel like this was an opportunity to say, okay, that's enough. We've given them 150 years of opportunity, and if they haven't taken advantage of it, now let's all take it all back. But here's the thing, guys. Some of us, I won't say we don't care about affirmative action, because we do, but we understand the game. And we understand that it's going to take our own merit. It's going to take our own strength. And every time we do that, then you have something else. You pull yourself by your bootstraps. Many of us have pulled ourselves by a bootstrap, and our kids are going to be able to do the same thing. But rest assured, we know.
And absolutely, Miguel is right. Here's the good thing that I always love is that when affirmative action didn't exist and smart Black people were not allowed in college, we created our own universities and colleges to excel at because we were not allowed. The Asian community, y'all got a college we don't know about? Because what's going to happen is you guys don't get into the Ivy League schools and you're too good enough to go to the state schools. So what are you guys going to do now? Black people, we always going to find a way. We've always found a way to
Right.
succeed. There are very smart people who have graduated from Howard University, Florida A&M, behold the green and gold. Can't think of the name of your school right now, but they're very smart people who've gone to these
Norfolk State,
universities.
behold the green and gold. Yes.
Norfolk State. I remember
Correct.
behold the green and gold. I should get points for that.
I give you half a point for that, but go ahead, Miss FAMU. I know
But
your
anyway,
school. Go ahead.
I'm just disappointed that there's now going to be more division, and to watch these Asian Americans get on national TV and be so proud of what they've done, and they have no idea that they've set themselves back. I think that's the part that's the most confusing to me. Y'all have set yourselves back. You didn't open up this huge door for all these Asian students to now come
Right.
in. You've just set yourself back.
Right. Yeah. No. I've always been known as being an optimist to my core. And then people say, Miguel, why you always think the best of people? Because that's just the way it brings peace to me. I'm not going to, I refuse to believe that most Asian people are sitting out here saying that black people are a problem.
No,
The people that they shove the mics in their face, the guy you sent me a link to, whoever it was, the clown that was Kenny Zhu. And these type of people, they're opportunists. They're taking advantage of these opportunities to get out there, and they'll find somebody helping them to write a book and make some money. But when it's all said and done, if you don't know, if you are Hispanic or black or Asian or any other, and you don't understand that the true enemy is white supremacy, then you get what you deserve. Because when it's all said and done, go ahead.
One thing I do want to say that I always forget this guy's name, Mindy Kaling's brother. So the actress Mindy Kaling, the Indian actress who always has to date white men in all of her shows?
Yes.
Okay, she has a brother. Her brother's name is Vijay Choklagam. He actually wrote a book where he posed as a black student to get into med school. Used affirmative action to pose as a black student, and he got away with it for a while, but he was so bad that he got put out of the school, and he wrote a book, and he put the book out there.
Okay.
And this is an example people are using, saying, "Oh, well, he scammed. He used affirmative action to get in." And I'm like, he may have used affirmative action to get in, but he sucked and got kicked out.
And he got put out, right? And here's the other thing about affirmative action. Affirmative action is not ensure that you're going to get financial aid, that the school is going to be paid for. Even in that scenario, when it got people in the school, you still have people who are going into debt to attend these schools to the tune of, $300,000 on a 4-year degree. And so that's the other thing that when you start talking about the things that have happened over the last couple of weeks, when you talk about Florida and your state, with DeSantis and the no equity and inclusion offices being ripped away. You also have the Supreme Court that says no, President Biden, you don't have the authority to give any sort of loan forgiveness. We're talking about $20,000 per student, which really is a drop in the bucket compared to what a lot of these people. Well, I didn't go to school, and why should my taxpayer dollars pay for somebody to go to college? Well, why should your taxpayer dollars pay for Marjorie Taylor Greene's PPP loan forgiveness?
And all the PPP loans, when they started listing out all the PPP loans, I'm like, all y'all didn't need PPP loans. All of you all didn't. Some of you all are, and it's even funny, and Miguel, you can probably attest to people having this issue. My CEO, who is running a multi-million-dollar ad agency that I worked for, he applied for a PPP loan. He was rejected. Like, we had to scrounge as an agency to keep the business afloat during COVID because he was like, I didn't get anything.
So yeah, it's really all about the economy and putting money out there to get you to spend it and put it right back in the economy. It's really all a shell game. Our economy is a shell game. And so when it came down to who got it and who didn't and who qualified or whatever, I didn't spend a lot of time and a lot of energy with it. Then you had, the whole thing with COVID and all of that. And I just sat back and I'm just like, guys, this shell game that we're playing, when it's all said and done, the grievances of now are the response of all of that. When on the back end of it, now you got all these people complaining about this, that, and the third, and you still got Donald Trump, who's out here with all these multiple felony indictments, and he still has a good chance of being president.
Well, let me tell you who don't have a good chance of being president, and that would be Ron DeSantis. They hate him.
Who's
They
they?
hate him.
Who
The Republican side, the Republican media hate
do they
him.
really?
They hate him. Yes, and the reason he's actually losing by 20 points in the polls. It's like him and
But
Tim
he's
Scott.
losing to
Dolphins
Trump.
are
But they're
all in the back.
losing to Trump. And it's go ahead. I'm gonna let
It's
you
weird.
finish. I'm gonna let
I
you
get
finish.
it. It's a weird thing. But what's also funny is that the Republicans and Republican or right wing media have one issue with him, and I kind of agree with. They're just like, he won't do one mainstream interview. He keeps just going to Fox News. At least Trump will go to mainstream. Trump will go anywhere. You put a mic in front of his face and be like, "You want to interview me? Cool. We'll argue and it'll be fine." DeSantis refuses.
DeSantis knows
He
he's a
refuses to
weirdo.
go.
He knows that he's emotionally awkward. He knows that he can't fake it to save his life, and that's what's going to think about it. He really was supposed to lose to Andrew Gillum as the governor of
He
Florida.
was.
He was supposed to lose to Andrew Gillum if Andrew Gillum didn't Andrew Gillum. So DeSantis, when it's all said and done, it's all about the middle of the road people. There's people on the left, people on the right that I don't care what you do, they're going to vote for their guy or their girl. When it comes down to those middle of the road people who are going to look at Ron DeSantis and say, so you took on Disney? You said there's no diversity and equity and inclusion in your state.
Yeah.
You just find pots to stir up.
I don't think that's what people realize is that there are Republicans like me, there are independents, there are moderates who don't want all the stuff he's trying to do. They're like, yo, you a bridge too far, my dude. I'm good. I can't get on your, I can't support you.
Yeah,
And all the people
yeah,
who are super conservative are all
yeah.
supporting Trump. So
And that's the part that
he
doesn't those are the people who are just about the power grab and are just following what their friends are telling them what to do, because Trump accomplished very little when it comes down to but what he did accomplish was what he can tout, which is I set up these judges to blow
yeah.
everything up the way they're blowing it up now. And if you're simply about power, which many people on the right are about, well, everybody's about power. But I think there's a coalescence of the right where they can say what they want, but it looks pretty monolithic to me. They're trying to say there's not a monolithic party, but Christian values, Roe versus Wade.
The Christian values thing is always weird for me because none of the Republicans they push up have never have Christian values. Like Trump does not have Christian values. Marjorie Taylor Greene does not have Christian values. Lauren Boebert does not have Christian values. And I think that bitch is getting a divorce. Like, where are the Christian values that we're hoping? The only one that actually has Christian values is the
Mike
justice.
Pence.
Is her name Amy?
Oh, I'm thinking Mike Pence. Who you thinking about?
No, well, Mike Pence definitely does
Yeah,
sound
Mike
Christian
Pence
values.
is Mr. Warm Mayonnaise. He's pretty Christian values.
He is warm mayonnaise. He calls his wife mother.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah. That's an old Southern thing, though, but still, like he calls his wife mother, and it's very. But Amy Comey Barrett.
Oh, she's the new justice. Okay.
Yeah, she's the new justice. She's very Christian. Been married to her husband. She was like 20. They got like 5 kids. She Christian.
So there's nothing wrong with Christianity, but stop pimping Christianity to push your right wing. Nobody is good but white men agenda. That's the part that's pushed a lot of people, away from the faith. That's a whole different conversation.
Yeah.
But that's you pushing this agenda. What?
I'm sorry for laughing, but did you watch the Hillsong documentary? That's what made me think of it about pushing white men.
No, I haven't
in front
seen
of
the
people.
Hillsong documentary. What is that on?
Yo, you need to go watch.
What is that on? Is that on Netflix or what is it on?
Hulu.
It's on Hulu.
Hulu.
Yeah, I've been meaning. It's summertime. I got some time today. So I have heard about the Hillsong documentary, and I know that I think the guy was cheating on his wife, and he was doing some other wildness, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So was everybody else who's head of a Hillsong church. They got pedophilia, they got adultery, they got all kinds of crazy stuff. All white men. And one black man who was like, nah, I'm cool on y'all. I'm going to take y'all name off my church. Oh, the one who's married to Shawnee O'Neal now. He was a Hillsong pastor. And then we saw what was happening. He's like, no, take your name off my church. This is my church. Take all the rock band stuff. We'll go back to being a regular black church. We're cool on y'all.
All right.
But listen, we talked about a lot of serious stuff. Can we talk about some fun stuff?
Well, I want yeah. Well, I'll go ahead. I want to hear what your fun stuff is. Let's go.
So there is a new surgery out where men can drop $81,000 on limb lengthening
I
surgery.
saw this story,
They're calling
man. Go
they're
ahead.
calling it a BBL for the legs, but I'm like, that's not how the acronym works, but it's fine. But an Atlanta-based Navy vet named Denzel Siger, 27, dropped a bag to go
Hold
from
on, hold on, hold on.
5'5" to 6
Hold on
feet.
for you. Hold on. This is definitely a what? This is
Okay, an
definitely a what?
Atlanta-based Navy vet named Seeger, 27, dropped a bag to go from 5'5" to 6 feet, and he says he was inspired to go through with the limb lengthening surgery after getting rejected by a female. I don't know if it was a bunch of females or just this one female. An ad just popped up, and now I can't see the article anymore.
So for that one female who rejected this brother, it's your fault. There's gonna be a bunch of dudes running around here with metal in their legs, wanting to try to get 3 inches tall and try to be tall like me.
Well, not 3 inches. I mean, he's got a whole 5 inch taller. That's a big deal. And if girls, I'm supportive of this. If women can get BBLs, I mean,
no, I'm not supportive of none of it. I ain't supportive of no BBLs. And I ain't supportive of no leg lengthening. I saw a post earlier where some woman had gotten the butt job, but I guess it deflated and she had a hole in her butt. And I'm just looking. And the thing about it, the woman who did put the video out, who exploited this woman who was going through this traumatic situation with a hole in her butt, was promoting the girl Delicious has some sort of gel that she supposedly gives people that makes their book. Here's the thing. Here's our Han What story. There's a couple of Han What's we're gonna do under this Han What banner today. The social media, man, got people so twisted. So have you seen the video of at Essence Fest, Megan Thee Stallion had a bunch of women on the stage twerking, and now it's the hottest thing going on the internet. And now there's a lot of women, black women, who are sitting back, they calling them old because they're like, this is ridiculous. Why are you women exploiting yourselves like that? And then the response is, shoot, these people living their best life and blah, 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 blah. I'm just like, no, they're not living their best life. But it's just, I don't know where the bridge is too far with this stuff. It's kind of like at a point where do we go from here? We didn't have a show last week, and I think this happened while we were off the air with the BET Awards, where the girl was right, where the girl is sitting there with Dr. Bobby Jones, and I guess she's got a song out that I can't repeat.
Called Pound Town.
Pound cake or something. Pound round.
Pound Town.
Pound Town. It's called Pound Town.
Pound.
Yeah, I'm an OG. I'm showing all my gray right now. And the hook of the song is just look it up yourself. I'm not saying it. So she's sitting there but with a stack of money but to her ear with Dr. Bobby Jones and the Bobby Jones Gospel standing right next to her, and she's singing the hook to this song, talking about the color of her vagina and the color of her behind. That it's so bad that I'm even embarrassed.
Here's the interesting thing about that. Her name is Sexy Red. So because of the popularity that she got from the BET Awards, she thought she could take her song on the road, that other people would love hearing her song. Do you know people started throwing stuff to get her off the stage at a recent festival?
It's trash. Like, it's not even entertaining.
No, her song is trash. Even people on social media, like, the song is garbage. Like, it's one of those songs you sing with your friends at a bachelorette party when you're drunk behind closed doors. It's not when I wouldn't pay money to see her. I don't think anybody would pay money to go see her and sing that song. The song is not good. But I get what Miguel is trying to tie this all into is how it has become a very sexualized situation when it comes to women in public, music, and black women. But when it comes to Essence Fest, Essence Fest is, I don't want to say all over the place because that sounds bad, but Essence Fest tries to get everybody. Because they have the Tech Expo. They have the Business Expo for new business owners. They do have all these different events and venues and different things going on. This was just one moment of a much larger event that I watched. Heck, they had a couple out there teaching aerobics through double Dutch. So it brings in
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. We talk about this. You know, this is almost our marketing master tip of the week, right? There's a market for everything and everybody. Right now, you know, because India Arie, who's one of our legends, it's funny we talked earlier in the show about Jill Scott and her conversations around redoing, and she also has a video out there where she was kind of scolding people for everything is about being a bitch. Bitch this, bad bitch, this my bitch, blah, 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 blah. She said, no, I'm here for my sisters. And so it's the grown women, right? It's the, why you make that face?
Really, Jill Scott the person? Wasn't she recorded fake sucking a peen on stage?
But no, here's the difference. Here's the difference in that.
Okay.
We are all adults, right? We're all adults.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is, and what happens in our bedrooms and happens on, you know, and what she simulates, and I know exactly what you're talking about. She simulates giving fellatio with a microphone, whatever. And it's entertaining, okay? It's a moment in the show, and there is some ambiguity to it, right? There is some, but the point I'm making is that India Arie talked about this as well. This is so much in our face every day. And I get, and your point right there is the reason why some of us be looking at this clip and it's like, see, that's the hypocrisy in it right there. Just got 1 minute talking about sister this, sister that. The other minute she talking about, you know, giving a man a blowjob. What happens in your bedrooms is your business. And Jill Scott lets you know this is an adult moment of the show. But now
she does. She does say that.
Yeah. But now it's to that point that any old body can go pull up these clips on YouTube. And when I say any old body, I got to sit up here and monitor what access my children have access to.
Yeah.
Because
I am the mother of a teenage boy. Trust me, I have a block on every computer for YouTube in the house for that specific reason. Because
we, at this point, the type of stuff that we see now everywhere is the stuff we used to laugh about when it was on the late night BET Uncut.
Skinamax. Remember Skinamax?
Right. This is the stuff that 20 years ago we thought it was in the shadows, and now it makes all our pastors and old heads look like they were really the smart ones, because they were saying this is where we were going.
The tip drill? Remember the tip drill video? How that was banned from everything?
Correct. Tip drill from BET Uncut that would only be shown at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning.
Now imagine if Tip Drill came out now, they'd be like, that's nothing. Who cares? Another thing I wanted to bring up is I'm not a fan of the new Janelle Monáe era. I don't know if anybody else is into.
So Janelle Monáe is a part of that video with Megan Thee Stallion. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. I'm not a fan of this Janelle Monáe. I'm not a fan of it. I appreciate. I'm not a fan.
And the thing about it is that the song, the first single off first, it's a dope song. It's actually a dope song. Right? Janelle, from what I understand, is that she's basically doing the total 180 because everybody looked at her like she was the good girl and she was the, you know, and so she's like, okay, I'm gonna flip this to get more attention. And she's getting this attention based on this hypersexuality that is just, it's so much a part, and all the liberation and the women like Latifah and Moni Love and all these sisters over the years who fought to get these women the platforms, and now the entire platform seems to be, it ain't nothing but city girls and worst. You know, the girl, what's her name?
I never looked at Janelle Monáe as the good girl. I always looked at her as quirky and funky. Does that now mean good girl if you're quirky and funky and doing your own thing? Because she just seemed like she was going to do her own thing and be quirky and funky.
Right. She was always extremely talented, but the attention that she probably felt she deserved, she wasn't getting, right? And so all of a sudden, you know, she came out a couple of years back and talked about her sexuality and that she was fluid or whatever, right? And so you say, okay, all right, sis, do you? And now it's like, okay, that didn't get her enough attention. And now she's like, okay, even though Janelle has probably got to be in her early 40s. I'm assuming she's in that ballpark.
It might be my age.
You know, ballpark, right? But she's a beautiful girl, kept herself in amazing shape. You're talking about somebody who was in the Hidden Figures movie. She's done stuff that's really been quality content, but it doesn't get the attention. And the attention economy that we have right now says you got to push the envelope. You got to be Cardi B. Like we wouldn't have thought 10, 12 years ago that the standard would be Cardi B. But that's what's happening.
But even look at Cardi B. Cardi B is now married with 2 kids, going to high-end fashion shows. Right. She's not out here twerking. When's the last time you seen Cardi B twerk?
So let's break that down. If I'm a young artist who comes out and says, if I'm gonna follow the model of Cardi B, she came out wilding, salacious, got the attention, then she started to calm down, then she got married, then she got kids, and now she's basically a supermodel. So if I'm, what's the girl name, the one who the YK Osiris tried to kiss her and come to Sukihana. I had no idea who this girl Sukihana was before this situation went down.
Love and Hip Hop.
Don't watch it, so I don't know her. So then all of a sudden, I start doing research on who this Sukihana chick is. I'm like, hold on, she got videos out there where she's getting walked like a dog by her ponytail. She's got videos where she's twerking on 10-year-olds.
Sukihana's disgusting. This does not mean she deserved to have what happened to her with somebody trying to kiss her and all that forcible stuff. It was a mess. But Sukihana's disgusting. I think Cardi B, even when Cardi B first came out, when you think about her first album, she was never butt naked anywhere. The lyrics were just aggressive. Like, I don't remember. It
was more Little Kim, Foxy Brown. It was a little bit more Little Kim, Foxy Brown. And then we also forget, like, maybe Cardi B would have gone to the sexy era, but she was pregnant when that album came out. Like, the second half of it, come to find out she was pregnant. That's why she was wearing flouncy big stuff and flowy stuff. But I'm okay with women my age. I think it's great that we also have our sexuality. We're wearing our tight dresses. We're showing off our boobies sometimes. I just, twerking on stage for me, it's a no-go. I'm not going to do it. What I wear a see-through dress with my husband out to dinner somewhere, probably, hey, it's fine. It's just, there's levels to this. There's levels to this. But see, the problem with the levels to this is people don't understand that there is no barometer to say what is the levels, because now you're looking at, now the women who are deciding not to be as salacious are looked at like they're square. Oh, you corny.
Like Sierra, who is married, acting like a single girl, which I feel like she's lost a lot of people just from that alone. I don't get it. But
that's just it. So you're married, talented. Right?
You're not talented, so just be married and be a wife. Just be married, be a wife, and be a model.
Sierra is talented though. I don't.
On what planet?
Sierra is talented. Let's just see. Sierra was an amazing dancer. She was a good enough singer. She Sierra is not trash. But what happened with Sierra is that her market, which is 20 years ago, we didn't outgrew that Sierra. So now, everybody did. Right. So, but here's the thing: people like Sierra, she still looks like she's 25.
And so we thought Sierra outgrew that Sierra from back then. Didn't everybody thought she outgrew it?
Yes. But what she probably did until her record company came to her and said, "Okay, this is the last record on your contract." It's time for you to get some more attention. The next thing you know, Sierra doing songs with her butt out. We were watching the other day. We were watching Byron Allen had a special on the Griot, and it's so funny because Trey was looking at it and said, "What is this show? I don't get this." And I just kind of laughed because it was the old variety show style back in the day. And I don't know if you remember this stuff or not. Because I grew up on this stuff where around holiday weekends you had these telethons, and and they would have different performances. And back in the day with Lou Rawls, You'll Never Find, it was all that. So now this show featured, and it'll make sense to you when I run down the artists. This show featured Boyz II Men, John Legend, Tony Braxton, right? Ced the Entertainer, Tiffany Haddish, who was on stage and flat out said, they told me I got to do a clean show. And even the way that they played the songs, it was kind of like the Lawrence Welk, Motown Philly's back again. It just felt very sanitized, right? And Trey was like, "What is this?" And I said, "This is the way TV used to be, and where Byron Allen would like to take it." But the reason why I'm bringing it up was, even on that show, Tony Braxton had her butt out. I'm like, girl, you are 50 plus years old. Tony Braxton's older than me. and you out here with your butt out. Why?
And here's the funny thing: why would you have your butt out for that audience when you know that audience is literally gonna go? Why do you have your butt out?
And so that was her pushing the envelope, and they probably next time you see her, if she comes back to I always forget his name, Byron Allen's show, he'll probably be like, okay, don't do that again, and
they won't even invite her back. I doubt they would invite her back. So let me just circle back to something really quick. And part of the whole the BET Awards must be stopped. That whole award show was a hot ghetto gumbo that nobody wanted to eat. Even the red carpet styles. Where were these people going? Were we going to the beach? Were we going to a barbecue? Were we going to dinner with our husbands, or maybe not our husbands, maybe our side guy? I don't know. Everybody was dressed crazy. The music was crazy. Wasn't no writers, so they were kind of winging it.
Because of the writers strike. Busta Rhymes did a 10-minute. Busta Rhymes did a 10-minute acceptance speech and then performed for another 15 or 20. But if I think about it, like I didn't start watching until probably 9:00, 9:30, so I missed the first hour, I guess. And outside of Busta, it was terrible. Midnight. But outside of Busta, who were the biggest celebrities in the crowd? Was Drake there? Was a DJ Khaled there? Of course, Jay-Z and Beyonce and them weren't there. Like, it's to the point now that they said they looked out in the audience and it was just like a bunch of social media influencers were the audience.
Well, that's what it is. The social media influencers, cast of the Love and Hip Hop shows, up and kind of coming rappers, SoundCloud rappers, people who went viral for some stupid reason. It's not the quality, and people have all come out with videos on YouTube saying whoever takes over BET, Tyler Perry, he has to bring some class back to the BET Awards, or we'll never get high name people. I would want to say maybe 10 years ago, scratch that. Before Love and Hip Hop existed, you got all the famous people to the BET Awards. It would be Beyonce and Jay-Z.
Right.
And it would be Whoopi Goldberg. It would be Oprah Winfrey popping in to say something that she hadn't known about her business to do whatever. It would be all of the Will Smith and Jada.
Okay. And here's the thing. And for people who listen and said, well, those are all the old people now. I get it. So where were the Hers? Like, Her is a young artist. She's of a certain style. She wasn't there. Where is SZA?
Janelle Monáe there? I don't think Janelle Monáe.
So it is turned into Jordan. To me, right. So to me, it's turned into what the BET Hip Hop Awards should be. Let them have that. Let them wear the BET Hip Hop Awards out and turn that into a trash show. Let them have that. They've got to find some balance, and the market has really gotten to the point where it's driven us to the point where this year, for the first time in 30 years, there's been no hip hop rap song that's been #1 on billboards for the first time in 30 years.
Because rap sucks right now.
It sucks. It's not about making great music. It is about making viral moments.
TikTok. It's about making TikTok music.
But guess who's still making great music? The Adeles of the world, the Taylor Swifts, the Weeknds. Pop music still exists, and now pop music is going back to where it was back in the 80s, where while y'all out here worrying about making these viral moments, you're going to be less and less relevant. And you're saying, well, who cares? Who cares about radio? Who cares about these award shows? There's a lot of people who care. The marketing companies and the people who are trying to get these
album was a little bit too poppy and dancey for a lot of Black people.
Whose album?
Which is why Beyonce's album, the Renaissance Tour, was a little too poppy and dancey for people, and I don't think the Black community embraced it like it probably should have, seeing how a lot of that music was the same music we loved back in the 70s and 80s. Nothing really changed, and now it's like
because Beyonce and the people who managed Beyonce's career, I haven't seen anybody smarter in the last 20 to 30 years, and this is why I say that. Beyonce is now 42, 3 years old, right? And so she shouldn't have to be trying to.
I'm back. You lost your mic. There we go.
Oh, okay. Beyonce shouldn't have to try to entertain 17-year-olds anymore. And so
No.
when this album came out, whenever it was last year, and it had all these dance tracks, and it had Madonna on a remix, and it had all these people. They said, you know what? If you're under the age of 30, you're no longer my primary market.
That's exactly, yeah, that's what it
If you're under
said.
the age of 30, you're not spending $600, $700, $800 on a concert ticket to come and see me.
Nope.
So it's time for me to evolve. I now have, is it 3 or 4 children? 3 children.
3.
3 kids, married to one of the biggest moguls in the world. I'm not making an album every year, no more for the rest of my life. I'm gonna make this
No.
music. I'm gonna tour these same songs for the rest of my life and add about 1 or 2 decent songs every album to my tour. And I'll be doing this until I'm tired of doing it. And so
Yeah, you're right, because she's definitely making music that she seems to want to make, because this Renaissance album looked like it really was. Well, no, and even the Lemonade album, those were 2 albums that she was just like, this is what I like, this is what I'm going to sing, this is what I'm going to make. And that's just that on that.
and she's not less, she's just as relevant as she's always been. And
Always.
as soon as she drops something, everybody's on it. Jay-Z and Beyonce. Huh?
Except for clothing. Clothing, she cannot make work no matter what she does.
Okay. Okay.
What happened to House of Darion? Remember House of Darion? Her clothing line?
Vaguely.
Okay. Ivy Park, everybody kept saying, oh, Ivy Park sells out so quickly. Come to find out, it wasn't selling out. It wasn't
It just
selling
was
out
not
at
being
all.
promoted, right? It wasn't being sold.
So
Yeah. So anyway, all right. So anything before we get up out of here, Rihanna's out, but so Sav's talking about big stars. She is out, but she's got a new Savage Fenty CEO. What is this? Candace Owens, Supreme Court rant. Do I care what Candace Owens said about Supreme Court? Throwing stuff at celebrities. What is that?
Oh, yeah, we got to talk about this real quick. Hey, people, listen, I know our listeners don't do that because we're grown, and if we pay money to go somewhere, we're not going to throw stuff at people.
Yeah.
But whoever started this trend of let me throw something at an unsuspecting celebrity who's singing their song and twerking their guitar, then I'm going to chuck something at them. BB Rexa, who is a very famous pop singer, international pop singer, got a phone. A man threw his phone at her because he thought it would be funny. The girl ended up with stitches on the side of her face. Like, he full on chucked this at her face. Pink, huge international pop star. Somebody threw their mom's ashes at Pink. And she was so confused. She was like, I don't even know what to do with this. What am I do with this? And then the last girl, I forgot her name. We just talked about her. Someone threw something at her face. And she was so pissed off. She just ran off stage. She didn't even stand there. She was like, no, forget it.
And there's something in every one of those moments you're talking about. There's some clown out there who says, I had a viral moment. I was the guy who threw the phone at the pop star, and she got all bloody because of me. I'm the man.
And now you're unemployed, and no one will ever hire you because every time they Google you, it's not just you had an assault. You got in a fight one day at a bar. You got drunk. People can forgive that. You willingly and soberly threw a cell phone or threw a battery or threw something at a celebrity and hurt them.
These idiots. And finally, Patti LaBelle needs to stop singing tributes because sister girl, but I love Patti. Say my name, Patti, Patti. One of my favorites.
Once again, BET Awards. The BET Awards, Tina Turner tribute, where
but here's the thing. But I bet you $5 to a fat man. They could not find a recent pop singer who knew Tina Turner's music.
No, so they could, but not one that was going to come to the BET Awards. There wasn't one that was going to come to the BET Awards.
You know, that's something that was an opportunity missed where you could have had. I don't know. You know, there's so many amazing young singers that are out here.
They could have had Janelle Monáe. They could have had SZA. They could have had her. They could have had her. I know her in the tiny dress is not her thing, but her with that build doing the full dance from Burning on the Rib.
Right.
I left the good job.
Right.
Oh.
Right. And those moments are lost. And so when it's all said and done, whoever's producing the show that said, just go back to the old faithful, go call Patti. Patti said, sure.
Patti and Tina didn't even like each other in real life, so why call her? They had beef. Did you know they had beef?
I'm sure they probably did. Patti LaBelle at one time or another had beef with all of them. So that's not a surprise. You know, so yeah, so it's just one of them things, man, where it's kind of like,
Was
pop
Patty the
culture
problem?
and there is. I'll leave you with this. Between the BET Awards and the Byron Allen Show, content creators, there's a lot of opportunity out here for us to do some stuff, and because the market is sick and tired. The market is sick and tired of this trash, okay? And so, as I'm watching ESPN firing all these people, you're like, man, Jalen Rose got fired? All these people. And you sit back and you say, you know what? This is where we are today, where they're so afraid of the podcast market and what we're doing and people making money directly that they're just like, we're cutting this budget because the advertising dollars are going everywhere. I can't afford to pay Jalen Rose $3 million a year. He'll be fine.
They kept the stupid girl that everybody hates. Abby, not Abby.
Yeah.
She got some stupid.
I know you're talking about
girl.
the conservative one, the one that right. She's not entertaining. It's not even about her being a conservative. She's not entertaining. But they kept
talking about
her.
the black girl, right? The light skinned girl.
Yeah. I can't even think of her name. She trashed.
She's
Sage Steele. Yeah, she's talentless. But hey, you gotta feed every demographic. All right, we did all right for a little bit of preparation today. All right, so next week. I don't know.
And see, that's the problem, guys. During the summertime, this schedule's about to be all over the place.
Well, here's the thing. So one school, but fortunately, let me just, and I said I was done, but I'm not done. So Michelle's team, first of all, last basketball tournament of the weekend, of the season, Layla won MVP.
Yay!
Layla won the MVP. Michelle's team lost in overtime on a 3-point shot, and they were up by 3 with under 3 seconds left in regulation. The girl hits a half-court 3-point shot to send it to overtime. In overtime, another girl hits a 3-point shot from about 25 feet. These are 11-year-olds to beat Michelle the last game of the season. Oh, we were sick. We were sick with it. But the girls had an amazing year. We're looking forward to what these youngins are doing. But basketball season is over for at least about a month and a half. So I think we'll be able to keep it under control a little bit better. All right, y'all. We appreciate y'all for hanging out with us tonight. Look out for the clips on all the Facebooks, the YouTubes, all the channels, and all that. We holla at y'all. Peace.